Alright, so this video is going to be a little bit different, or maybe not. It might turn out completely different, or like the others. Normally I try to, I'm always trying to get out of what's in my head here. It seems to help. It makes me feel a little bit better. But anyways, so this weekend, I've been working out here in Sandy Springs at a bar. And ironically, it's actually down the street from where I used to live for a little while, back in 2015, with Katie. For those of you that don't know, back in January 2015, right at the beginning of it, my roommates and I, me, Donald, Katie, Danielle, his brother Jose, and two dogs, Odin the boxer and Fiona, the pit bull, rest in peace, Fiona. We lost our apartment to what was classified as a catastrophic loss. Donald's bedroom was completely incinerated. Katie's room, just the ceiling collapsed in on it. Tons of water damage, smoke damage. My room had a mixture of everything. Water, fire, smoke, tar from the roof. So that was a really bad time for all of us. It obviously, I didn't realize, I say obviously, but because I know it now, but I didn't know it then. It really affected me in a way that I didn't understand. I knew I was dealing with something different than I've ever dealt with before. You don't ever think about, holy shit, my house is going to burn down. It happens all the time. We see it on TV all the time, but we don't think it's going to happen to us. And I think I might have dealt with it a little bit more rough than everybody. Not to say no one else was suffering or upset, but it fucked me up, I think, because I guess I retained it. I just held on to it, tried to write it off or ignore it maybe, and that's not healthy to do, and I know this, but I did it anyways because I got tired of feeling lost. I got tired of feeling lost. Lost is going to have to be the best word for this, because that's what it was. I felt lost. I felt hurt. I was angry. I was extremely grateful that no one died. The love I have for them, Donald, Danielle, Katie, and the dogs, of course, it goes without question how much I love them. They're family to me. They always have been. They always will be. But everyone seemed to kind of move on, as we should have. We had a huge support base behind us, just giving us all the love and help that we could handle, if not more. And for that, we've always been and will always be eternally grateful. But somewhere in the back of my mind, it just sat there, and it was starting to eat me alive. It just ate at me. I wasn't happy. I didn't. And there's no real good way to describe the feeling. I was empty. I felt hollow. My chest, I'd randomly just feel like it was empty and filled with ice. The pit of my stomach, it felt like I was in a free fall. All over my whole body. It was horrible. And I didn't know, or maybe I just didn't want to know, that I was feeling that kind of way about the situation. And it started to affect me. I didn't realize it until I lived with Donald and Danielle again afterwards. Donald one night texted me and was like, "Yo, man, what's going on with you?" And I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, "Man, he's like, you get up, you go to work, you come home, and you go right to your room, man. That ain't That's not the John Hole we know. That's not the positive dude that I know, that we all know and love. And that sort of awakened something in me. You know, my ex-wife had even said, you just look like you don't care anymore. And for the most part, I didn't. I knew I didn't care about things. But I thought that was just me being an asshole. But it turned out that it was a little bit deeper, than a little bit more than that. I was depressed. I had severe depression. A friend of mine, she was at the time, taking a class in college for mental health and psychology. And I guess she had read a few of my posts on Facebook and Instagram. And so she hit me up one day and was like, hey, do you mind if I just ask you some questions? So I was like, oh, you gonna pick my brain, you know, psychologist. And she's like, actually, yeah. And I was like, well, all right. So she asked me a series of questions. And she told me that it appeared that I had mild, what's the word? I mean, mild depression, of course. But, you know, when the military comes back from war and they've got PTSD, there it is. She said I had a mild case of PTSD. Keep in mind, let me edit real quick, I'm not comparing what I had going on in my head to what our people in the military have to deal with. So, but keep that in mind. Anyways, she said I had a mild case of PTSD, and it made sense because whenever we would drive by somewhere that was cooking out, you know, barbecue, like a hot barbecue joint, you know, who the hell doesn't love a good barbecue joint unless you're vegan? In which case, you still might like barbecue Satan, whatever it's called. But that's beside the point. You know, we'd drive by and I'd smell the smoke and it would just instantly make me sick. I'd get a headache. You know, I see fire and it bothers me. You know, who doesn't like a good bonfire? And I didn't even like going near fire pits. Or again, barbecue, you know. It's a great American pastime to barbecue your food, or to grill your food, I should say. And it really took a toll on me. And it wasn't until mid-2017 that I was able to sort of come out of the funk, out of the depression. It's still there constantly. It still fucks with me. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like feeling that way, or this way, because I'm feeling it right now. So back to the original part of me saying I'm working out here in Sandy Springs. Because I did live down the road, and I did ride up and down the street over here. You know, I know Sandy Springs pretty well, but it was at a bad time in my life that I was out here. So I don't have really fond memories of being out here. As much as I love the apartment, as much as I love this area, I realized today I was on my way out here. I stopped to grab a bite to eat at Johnny's Pizza, got some garlic knots, and I realized that I didn't like being out here. And I thought maybe it's just because I was by myself or whatever. When in reality, it was because I was by myself, but it's because I was by myself out here after everything occurred. So I felt super alone, super depressed, super sad, super tired. Like, as much as I'm enjoying working at this bar, because they treat me well, 5.5 hours and I'm out, I really don't want to be here. Because it's depressing out here. The environment that I'm in right now is depressing. And I hate to say it, and I can't wait to not be here, you know. And that isn't just because I want to go home and do nothing, or I want to go out and do something. It's because I'm not comfortable in this particular space. It's not the bar, it has nothing to do with the people. It's just the environment in general. And I find it interesting, not weird, interesting that our minds do that so vividly, so clearly. You know, as long as you're aware of who you are, obviously, that our minds can do that to us. You know, whether it's a certain scent, which that gets me to certain scents, a certain noise, a certain song, or a certain environment just invokes such a strong reaction from our brains and our bodies and our minds and our soul, because it actually is going to our soul. And I really don't know if I should try to just suck it up and maybe try to come out here more to sort of, you know, face the fear or face it head on and get over it, or just acknowledge the fact, like I am right now, that I don't like being here and just don't come here. But realistically, what good would that do? Because that's just like running away from your problem. But then again, I really don't have a reason to come out here unless I'm working this little bar here, which this isn't my gig. I'm covering for a friend. I really don't know. I was kind of actually hoping this video would allow me to answer my own question, but it's really not. You know, I'm actually at a loss for once at what to say. I'm usually pretty good at answering my own questions or self-analyzing things, not perfectly, but enough that I feel satisfied. I'm really not satisfied right now. I don't know. Well, hopefully this hasn't been a waste of time. Hopefully you just enjoyed listening to what I had to say, or not enjoyed, you know what I mean. Well, maybe I'll do another video after this as a follow-up. Yeah, I think that's it for now.